this session, which has been put together with so much of pain by the two media houses, Southwest and TV9. Firstly, compliments to you for putting together such an eclectic gathering in the space of Medicare. I'm going to be speaking to you for the next several minutes. I'll not tell you how many minutes because you might get scared. I am going to be talking to you on a subject which is close to my heart, and that is Medicare in the new era. All of today, you have been going through the subject from a practitioner's point of view, and to an extent from the application point of view. I'm going to take you back from the user level, and I'm going to take you back to patient care, Medicare, and the new emerging trends in Medicare as they are going to happen in the future. I'm basing all of it on a set of research I have conducted across some 65,000 and odd people. The research is still on, and therefore I'm going to share some data with you without making it too boring. Firstly, I must say that power corrupts, and PowerPoint corrupts absolutely. And to that extent, you have to bear with a small PowerPoint, but I'll go quick on it. So the first thing that I want to talk to you is that, we're talking about the user end of it, and we are talking about the fact that there exists someone called a patient. A doctor exists because there exists a patient. A doctor is a solution to a problem, and the problem is the patient. And at the patient end, the problems seem to be many. Through my research, I've discovered that there are two kinds of nations in the world. One is that discovers wealth first and then discovers health. And then there's another nation which discovers health first and then wealth. Now, all of us know that fundamentally we are a brute set of nations who are very concerned about wealth. And only when we secure wealth do we think of health. And I think India is coming somewhere close to that point of time when wealth has been achieved and health is going to get discovered. So first of all, I think, important to appreciate that health is a very, very center stage point. The cheeky answer is the Indian is discovering wealth in health in the sense where there's plenty of wealth in healthcare. And I think that is the key issue that we need to be discussing today. There is fortune at the top, middle, and the bottom of the healthcare pyramid. And the healthcare pyramid is among the rich, the middle class, and the poor. All three segments are very, very important. So if you look at it, COVID has been a turning point. How many of you had COVID in your lives? Please put up your hands. No privacy breach? Yeah? Okay. The rest of you are so lucky that you did not get COVID. Okay? Or you're just plain lazy that you don't want to put up your hand. Whatever the reason, I hope, COVID has been a turning point in our lives. What Osama bin Laden did to the security services industry, in the sense he created paranoia in security services. Hotels such as this wouldn't allow you to walk in without getting checked, without getting, through security systems. Even today they do that. I think that was what Osama bin Laden did to the security services and products industry. The same thing COVID has done to the health services and products industry. Extremely critical to appreciate that health is today a very extra attention area. It's a center stage area which everybody looks at very, very carefully. There's extra focus that people give to healthcare, and extra needs of the people are growing on a day-to-day basis, wherein, people are saying that, health is much more important than wealth even. There are 5 pegs to focus upon in the healthcare era ahead of us. One is healthcare needs. That is every healthcare need that we have, which are basic needs. Then there's a healthcare want. I want better healthcare. And then there is something called a healthcare desire. I want the best healthcare. And then right on top of that is something called an healthcare aspiration. I need to be treated for this at only one location, and that location is possibly in Singapore. And eventually, there are healthcare fantasies even, particularly because, I was doing some study recently on broken bones, orthopedic issues. So on broken bones, the young of today, the Instagram generation wants, we went and asked them, what kind of bone setting do you like? They say that we hate these plaster of Paris which every Tom, Dick and Harish doctor puts together. We don't like plaster of Paris. Then what do you like? They say we want something snazzy. And I said, you anyway make it snazzy. When you go to school, people start writing all kinds of things on it. They make tattoos on it, designs on it. Maybe that's it. They say, no, we want something sexy. Right? This generation is a crazy generation. And then when we actually discovered what sexy is a new kind of a plaster cast, which is, put together very, very differently. And if you look at this plaster cast, it is actually a kind of a plastic material which is put onto the broken hand, and then it is filled with a liquid, and the liquid hardens, and guess what? There's a lattice kind of a design on the entire thing. You can swim with it, your arm can breathe with it, and you can pick any of 26 colors that can go into that liquid. So if you ask me, people today are not talking about functional medicine. Functional needs of a person, or what we talked about, healthcare needs, is a plaster of Paris cast on your hand which will last you for 6 weeks. At the end of it, you might have itching under it, you might have some skin issue under it, but then today people are saying, I want something which is breathable, something that is snazzy, and crazily, something that's even called sexy. So that is the fantasy of the young person today. And therefore, I want to take you through a journey of this fantasy. The healthcare market in India is what I call a saliva market. Saliva makes you want more and more. It's a saliva market. I talk about 2 body fluids today. Today I'll talk only about 2 body fluids, one in the beginning, one in the end. The first one is saliva, and the second is tears. Okay? If I had much more time, I would have talked to you about 2 more body fluids, which are very close to medical people. But let's stop with saliva and tears. Saliva. Why is it a saliva market? Look at the market, my dear friends. It's a very large market. It's a $372 billion market as far as India is concerned. It's a very large employment market. 7.5 million people are employed in the healthcare industry in India. That's a lot of people. 7.5 million people is a lot of people. In fact, it's one of the biggest employers. And if I look at AI and its inroads that is making into healthcare, every tech person working in a hospital is also a healthcare person. So it's going to add on and add on and add on. Against a 5.2 million IT sales force, if you have a 7.5 million medical services sales force, we are talking a big language. The hospital market touches $98.98 billion. Okay, out of this $372 billion, 372 billion means the healthcare market is 372 unicorns. Unicorns. We talk unicorns. The startup talks unicorn. That's one piddly billion $. One small billion $. This is 372 billion $. The hospital healthcare market, the healthcare market is 372 unicorns, and the hospital market is 100 unicorns nearly. So we're talking a big, big business ahead. Therefore, salivate. The medical tourism market is today at $8 billion, and we haven't even touched the tip of the medical tourism market. The e-health market is $10.6 billion, 10 unicorns, and we are still growing in that space. So essentially, we boast of about 12.5 lakh registered allopathic practitioners, as you know, add another 5.65 lakh Ayush doctors. We are talking about a strength of doctors being this. Well, the ratio is still not as good as it must be, but then it's quite good as far as India on the whole is concerned. Extremely important point to note is we scrape the extreme top tip of the iceberg of healthcare opportunity in India. We scrape the extreme top tip of the healthcare opportunity in India. And we are still so excited. You see how excited I am, and saying 372 unicorns. I think we can be 20,000 unicorns. And that's the future you young doctors are going to be facing in the future. Okay. Medicare, again, in the years ahead is a very big opportunity. But we need to understand it better. We need to understand it better Get off the treadmill we normally are on most of the time. In Medicare, if you work in a hospital, you know exactly what treadmill you are on. Seldom do we get the chance to get off the treadmill. I speak to doctors every now and then. One of my first clients was a pharma giant in India, and that took me to meet some 2,600 and odd doctors over a period of 12 and a half years. And in this doctor visit, I know what kind of a life a doctor leads. I think we need to get off the treadmill a little bit and understand what's coming, what's unraveling, and how do we look at it differently. We need to context it to the era of users who are unveiling ahead. You know, how many of you in this room were born after 2010? Please put up your hands. After 2010. What? Not a single person. Obviously, yeah. Obviously. 2010 is so-so. How many of you have children in the house who were born 2010 onwards? Yeah? Yeah? Okay, okay. Now, you know who this animal is in your house? The children in your house. It's called the Alpha generation. Alpha generation. Gone are millennials. We are millennials. You're millennials. How many of you are millennials out here? Put up your hands. You're so yesterday. So yesterday. How many of you are Gen Z? So yesterday. Yeah, yeah. How many of you are Gen Y? You were so day before yesterday. Well, my dear friends, gone are the days. We finished the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, Z. Then what do you do after Z? You go to Greek alphabet. Alpha, beta, gamma. In comes the alpha generation. And you have to take care of the alpha generation. The Medicare facilities of today takes care of the Medicare needs of the future. And the alpha generation is the new giant. And as I told you in ortho, a simple thing like a break of a hand, guess what, guys? They want something snazzy. They want something called sexy. Snazzy and sexy does not figure in the lexicon of a Medicare person in India at all. Agreed? Agreed? It would be something inappropriate. I'm using this word at a forum which is just about closing. It's a very inappropriate thing to word. Hey, guess what? The alpha generation uses these words. They love these words. And they've got Medicare fantasies. You have to cater to them. Okay. So get to understand the new generation, tailor-make the preferences to them. The alpha generation is the reality. Recognize change and build the plan for the alpha generation. That's the reality. The biggest change in Medicare in India is the generation. The generation. A new generation of people have come in, a new generation of patient needs, wants, desires, aspirations, and patient fantasies. The baby boomers are dying. Gen A to Z have gone. Important point is, what your Medicare business does today so well, what you do today so well, is because of what was done 40 years ago. 40 years ago, because a client of mine who I worked with, won't name, I don't like to take names of clients at all, set up a hospital chain, a huge hospital chain. And 40 years ago was the start. What was planned 40 years ago has fructified today. And it's one of the biggest chains in India, right? Now, what you do today will actually fructify maybe 20 years from now. And therefore, you are laying the foundation for the future. Okay, let me go on and maybe really talk to you about the alpha generation. The alpha generation is really insulate and build Medicare for the alpha generation is what I'm saying. If you want to take care of the future of your Medicare business, insulate it for the alpha generation ahead. The alpha generation, 2010 to 2025, I've already told you. In fact, I'm going to skip the entire alpha generation business because I think, you can always read about it. So I'm just going to move forward. And I'm going to say that the alpha generation is very, very important. That's all I'm going to say. And the alpha generation is going to be on the 31st of December 2025, which is not very long away. On the 31st of December 2025, the single largest living generation on the planet Earth is the alpha generation. And every other generation is not important as the alpha generation. Okay? So if your business in healthcare is not related to the alpha generation, I don't think you're connected. If there's only one thing that you picked up from this entire summit, and if you go and say, I want to insulate my business for the alpha generation, I'll be very happy, because you're doing something that's going to be strategic for the business that you're going to build for the future. The alpha generation is actually, all about the youngster. It's about people who live on the social media landscape, people whose language you just don't understand. They come up to you and say, Mom, you be you. What? You be you. What is you be you? Mom, you do you. My God. My son comes up to me and says, Dad, I read 8 newspapers in the morning. I pile it all up. Dad, you destroyed the trees. Go digital. Now, this generation doesn't believe in a lot of stuff you and I used to believe. We need to learn what it is, and we need to go further. This generation is killing traditional media altogether. Okay, digital media is it. Traditional media is dead, dying, on the stretcher. Okay, so there are popular culture influencers out here, and all of them are really talking about the alpha generation and what it does. Okay, let me talk about the alpha generation a little more. Is the immediate and not so distant future, in the sense that tomorrow is the alpha generation. You think it's too far away, but it's already in your house. But the alpha generation is not in a power situation today. You are in the power situation. Give it another 7-8 years, the alpha generation takes charge of the power situation, and that becomes the biggest way of looking at the future. Okay, let me fast track the alpha generation. As I said, I'll want you to read it. Let me put it that the alpha generation is very, very tech savvy, totally tech savvy. In fact, any problem with your phone in your home, I'm sure you give it to the youngest kid in the house, because the youngest kid is the most savvy. The alpha generation is totally connected to whatever is at the cutting edge, at the bleeding edge of technology. If I look at the entire situation, the alpha gen has 2 currencies in their pocket. Okay, and you have 2 currencies in your pocket. One currency in your pocket is money, which you and I know, all of us have in the pocket. The second currency is time. Guess which is more important? Money is not important, time is important, and your Medicare business needs to be time-centered, as you rightly put it. Time-centered. Who has the time? Time is something I spend. You sat through my session just now for 30 minutes. By the time I finish, it will be 30 minutes. You died 30 minutes. You think you're living? Nonsense. You're dying. So am I. We are pushing death 1 minute at a time. You died with me for 30 minutes. I died with you for 30 minutes. I can't go to a top-up shop and ask, please top up my time by 30 minutes. Right? But money, I can go and earn money back again. Therefore, all Medicare businesses need to be time-centric businesses. And most hospital businesses are not time-centric businesses. They are still very rooted to the old way of doing things. Okay? Whether it be admin, or whether it be in the clinical procedures segment. I've done research across 13 hospital chains in this country. No hospital chain respects time of people. I've done research across 64,000 and odd people, and every one of them has complained that doctors do not respect the time of patients. Because they think patients have all the time, because they think patients are at the mercy of the doctors. My dear friends, the future is very, very different. I'm talking some very brute facts to you. I think it's very important for the hospital and healthcare industry to reorient itself to the patient centricity and eventually call the patient a consumer, because the patient is out there to consume as well. So time and money, and I think you need to leverage that. How do you leverage the medical businesses for the years ahead? I have 7 points out of 17. I don't even feel like going through all 7 points, but I might go through at least 4 of them. Let me tell you some of them. In my research, this is just a warning that it's a peak. There are 17 points. I can't tell you the name of the client I've done this for, but I can at least talk to you about some of the points. The patient user voice. The patient says, I need a GP, I need a GP, I need a GP. The general practitioner is the most important part of your business. Full stop. The specialist comes later, the super specialist comes later. The first port of entry is the general practitioner, and the GP is vanishing from our lives. And that is a big, big problem. Doctors don't want to be GPs anymore. Doctors want to climb the hierarchy onto higher and higher ends. So please think about it. There's a big GP gap. The family doctor, small is beautiful. Small is still beautiful, my dear friends. Whether you go to a GP, a small little guy who you have been consulting for the last 30 years, and guess what? He tells you who you are, what you are. He has history. And you're not meeting a different face all the time. So I think the GP is back. The family doctor is back. GP as the first point of contact is what people are demanding. Preventive, curative, and holistic health management happens at the point of the GP. At the point of the GP. So please be careful. Second point, I'm digital. Okay? This is, telehealth, please. Give me telehealth. Give me telehealth. There is a clarion call out there. And guess what? People want telehealth because it's quick and efficient. They don't have enough time. Time is the biggest currency. Personalized medicine linked to health, data, and individual genetic profiles are required. Digital health can give you that. Some of the best hospitals in the country have data. But the correlation of the data does not exist today. And therefore, we don't use data in hospitals. We don't use data in hospitals. For billing, we use data. For admin, we use data. For clinical procedures, in the realm of clinical, we do not use enough data. My research from 11 and a half hospitals or 12 hospitals that I've looked at in this country. Preemptive, proactive, automated monitoring through wearables of every kind. People are asking for that. The Fitbit is a simple device. The Fitbit can tell you 20 different things. The Garmin can tell you 26 different things. The Fitbit can tell you whether you're sleeping 7 hours a day and whether you're linked, what is the, in India, what the data looks like and what the data looks like globally. The Fitbit can give you REM, can give you deep sleep, can give you 4 other parameters. All these seem to be helping to an extent, and people are demanding this, and I think hospitals need to look at that, particularly home health care with digital health tools is coming by. That's the second one. Let me go to the third one. Cover me, baby. They're saying, cover me, baby, cover me, baby. Insurance, my dear friend, the insurer is a gap in this country. We are very underinsured health lives. There needs to be a separate summit on insurance in healthcare. Cover me, baby, fully. What are these exclusions you guys come out with, yeah? Your medical profession, my dear doctors, my dear hospitals, everything is excluded. Dental is excluded. Eye care is excluded. Do you understand? I'm not saying this, guys. Don't get angry with me. It's the consumer who's saying this. 65,000 plus sample size. Insurance needs with no exclusions. That's what people are looking at. Personalized to lifestyle of the people. Even gym-linked premiums, if somebody is a gym goer. Customized premiums, that's what they're looking at. Flexible and humane premiums, people are looking at it. Aren't teeth a part of my body? Dental is excluded in your insurance. Oh, so sweet, my dear friend. Vision is excluded. And hearing is excluded. What's happening, guys? Okay, the next one. I'm anxious. I'm very, very anxious. Take care of my mind, my dear friends. I'm under pressure. 5.2 million IT tech workers are under deep, deep pressure in this country. Why them? 7.5 million Medicare health workers are under deep pressure themselves. So, mental health is an issue, not only for the IT sector, but for the biotech sector, but for the retail sector, and most certainly for the Medicare sector itself. Doctor, heal thyself. The medical sector itself, I have done a dipstick study trying to see how mental health issues are affecting people in medicine and Medicare. Think of it, guys. I think this is the future we need to look at. I am anxious, take care of my mind. I am stressed, I am totally stressed. I am worried about my future, my finances, my performance of every kind. Add health to that. Okay. Mental health, very, very important. Early diagnosis, therapy and counseling. There's no early diagnosis in mental health. Watch my paranoia, small little things. Watch my OCD. OCD is one of the biggest items going through the realm of the IT workforce in India. And I'm saying this very loudly, very loudly. Okay, I'm sitting there and I've done a study, I've told you. I'm sitting there at the business of 3 times I'll touch something. 3 times I like to touch. I have a habit on the table. And I keep doing that again and again. Small little things become big little things. And OCD is one of the biggest things affecting our lives, and I think we need to be very, very carefully monitoring it as the first line which needs to be looked at in greater display. I love sex. Guys, sex, one of the most underspoken item on the agenda as far as India is concerned. We have the world's largest population, and yet we pretend. Yeah? And guess what, my dear friends? Sex, I love sex. The young people love sex. But there are issues. I think the previous panel discussed some of it. These are serious issues. The previous panel has done eminent justice on it, if you look at it. So India is changing. India is crazy. Have any of you watched Tribhuvan Mishra, CA topper? No? OTT? Okay, I've given them publicity. No, they're not a client of mine. Don't worry. Go and watch it. You'll suddenly see India is changing. India has changed. India is crazy. 8, 9 episodes will teach you what New India is all about, my dear friends. New central concerns, my fertility. Everybody, a huge chunk of people are concerned about fertility. Fertility is a big, big issue. Sex life of people in terms of number of times, duration, and 8 other parameters that come by. Okay, and I've done a detailed piece of work in this space, so I understand. Is a serious, serious matter, my dear friends. Sex life crazily has a way of demeaning the respect of individuals for themselves and for their spouses. Ouch! What are you talking about? Yeah, it's basic. Freud was right. Food, clothing, shelter, warmth, and sex. That's what Freud spoke about. Subsequent thinkers removed sex from the list. Abraham Maslow, as a thinker, removed sex from it. And subsequent thinkers removed more and more and more. But the basics are basics. Please look at it carefully. STD, serious issue among the young of India. We have tampered around with the sex ratio of India. I feel sad when I think that there are less women in India and there are more men in India. We've tampered around it. There are states in the country where guys can't get married to a lady. Okay? They can't get a bride. Okay? So what do? They do n numbers of other things. And guess what? Most of the time, STD is becoming a bigger and bigger problem in the country. A very silent problem, but a big problem. We need to talk about it. I don't trust you, baby. And this is the 6th one. I'll just do the 7th one and say goodbye to all of you. You had a long day. Look less corporate, dear corporate hospital. That 100 crore business I talked to you about, shared by all the hospitals in this country, growing at a 18% CAGR for the next 8 years. Very robust. Please look less corporate. People are wanting you to look less corporate. People don't like corporate hospitals. Corporate hospital distrust is coming by. I'm a politically incorrect guy, okay? So hate me, love me, but listen to me. That's it. And this comes from consumer research. People don't like corporate hospitals. So don't behave like a corporate hospital. Change your hospital practice away from corporate to personalized. Make your corporate hospital look like an aggregate of GPs of every kind put together with an umbrella of specialists and with a super umbrella of a super specialist set. Well, corporate hospitals, not trusted. Small is still beautiful. Okay? Middle is sloppy. In between the big corporate hospital and the GP, middle is sloppy. Nobody wants to go there. And big is ugly. Big is ugly. Don't look ugly. Look less ugly. So corporate hospitals of today need to look less ugly. That's the statement I'm making. Please change. I want to trust you, baby. This is the last one. Hospital concerns. Hospital concerns need to be smooth and fast. Hospitals are not smooth and fast enough. Zero waiting and no waiting room at all. I want a hospital with no waiting room or zero waiting room. Well, waiting list on tokens can go up to 97, 98 for an appointment slot of 1 hour. 1 hour, 60 minutes, 98 waiting patients. Actual data I'm giving you, actual data. Where does this work? It doesn't. People wait for 5 hours and they get out there. And it's like a train perennially running late because, demand is not catering to the supply that is actually happening. Must allow me a second opinion. People are asking for a second opinion in corporate hospitals. They're saying, give me an option. And this could be an option which you yourself give me. I want to double check what my specialist has told me. Because corporate distrust is coming in, my dear friends, because the specialist has recommended a set of procedures. And people are getting questioning. They have Google. They have Search AI, which is superior to Google. Have any of you tried it? It's just been launched 6 days ago. Search AI is beautiful. And I've got Chat GPT. With all this, people are asking. Ortho again. You know why I'm taking ortho? It's the simplest, non-controversial area. If I take any other area, there'll be a fight here. Ortho. Why must, there's a bipartite patella. You know this better than I. There's a bipartite patella on a patient. It's very clearly bipartite. Patient goes to the doctor, shows it. Doctor is a specialist. This is a branded corporate hospital. Shows it to the specialist. Specialist looks at it and says, it looks like bipartite. Oh, thank you, doctor. But there is synovitis around the patella. That could be because of gout maybe, or because of something else. Doctor says, no, I cannot decide that. I need an A-line X-ray. Only, why? The book says that an A-line X-ray can only tell whether it is a patella or not. You know what I mean? 20 different things can come by and can happen. So if you ask me, extremely important that corporate hospitals must look softer, they must look friendlier, extremely important. And these are just 7 related issues raised by me. There are 23 big ones. No time to do that this time. I'm going to close by saying that Medicare in India is a gap. There are bigger issues to tackle if you look at it. I call it the soft underbelly of Indian Medicare. Call it the soft underbelly of Indian Medicare. We need to fit solutions for each of these as we plan for the future of Medicare in the country. The soft underbelly, second body fluid I spoke to you about, tears. Okay. The tears are 28% of Indians don't have access to primary healthcare facilities. Let's cry about this. Let's cry. Okay. Healthcare Pareto play. 70% of India's healthcare facilities are in the top 20 cities only. What about the other cities? Let's cry. 37 million Indians fall into the poverty trap pushed by the bills of healthcare. Every year, 37 million people, Indians, become poor because of healthcare bills. Let's cry. Medicare and marriage are the two big push items which get us into debt. Marriage and Medicare. Because people spend their life earnings on the marriage of a daughter. India accounts for 20% of the global disease burden. 20%. That's a fair bit. Money lenders are the first go-to option to finance healthcare and marriage. Money lenders run after people. Okay? Formal banking does not give you enough money to take care of healthcare. Therefore, go to the money lender. Cry. The one big route, my dear friends, go digital. Something that we have to do. And I think my experience in recent 24 months with the new Medicare system in India tells me there are 3 levels of Digi involvement you can get into. Hospital level data, we have plenty of data, let's link it. Level 1, most of us are at level 1 in digital. We just talk it. We just talk digital. We have to get to level 2, which is, going deeper. Level 1 is what I call flirting with digital. 82% of hospitals in India are flirting with digital. Okay? Level 2 is we believe in digital. Okay? What's the meaning of that? Getting married to digital. 17% of hospitals in India are married to digital. You'll do very well. And level 3, it's in our DNA. It's in our DNA. I do everything digital. Now, we don't have anybody in that space at this point of time. I hope the coming years will get lots more coming into that space, going digital. And digital is essentially, in our hospitals, we believe digital deeply for admin, billing, etc., tracking, patient, reminders, appointments, 20 other things. 64% active. In clinical, digital is only 17% active. And therefore, we need to do a lot more in clinical than we do in the other way. My dear friends, digital is it. And in parting, just to leave your face with a smile, I just want to say there is a network of the digital and the living. Analytics, data, and living today is a promiscuous life. I'll tell you how. My phone sleeps with my refrigerator. My phone, I've got a smart refrigerator at home. It sleeps with my phone in the sense that my phone knows how many eggs there are. Now, in the fridge, when 24 eggs become 2 eggs, my fridge orders eggs from the grocery store, which is located in my basement. And my fridge is authorized to make a payment. I still don't trust technology fully. I've authorized only 2,000 rupees because I don't want it to go berserk. 24 eggs, by the time I get back home or my wife gets back home, the 24 eggs are lying in front of the door. Who ordered the eggs? My fridge. Who decided? My fridge. How did the fridge know? 24 minus 22 is equal to 2 eggs. This family eats 6 eggs a day. Get 24 eggs. Simple algorithm. My refrigerator, which ordered, sleeps with my grocery store because it tells the grocery store. My grocery store knows the data of my refrigerator and maybe 20 other smart refrigerators around. Okay? My grocery store sleeps with 40,000 customer phones because those phones are possibly linked there. My customers sleep with credit cards because if you want to pay, your credit card is linked there. Okay? My credit card sleeps with my bank because without a bank, you can't have a credit card. Okay? My bank sleeps with my rating agency. Could be ICRA. Okay? My rating agency sleeps with my insurance company because my insurance company needs data there. My insurance company sleeps with my car because my car is insured as well. My car sleeps with my car company, whichever the car company it is. My car company sleeps with Aadhaar because without an Aadhaar card, I cannot buy my car. My Aadhaar sleeps with my PAN card because the government said your Aadhaar has to be linked with the PAN card. And my PAN card sleeps with my jeweler. Every time I go to buy jewelry more than 2.5 lakhs worth of rupees, my PAN card has to be shown. My jeweler sleeps with my PAN card. And my jeweler sleeps with Facebook because he's on Facebook. And eventually Facebook sleeps with Cambridge Analytica. And you know what happened. If you ask me, we are all interrelated, my dear friends. Interrelated with data. The Medicare industry is going to make it even more interrelated. But in the case of the Medicare industry, very rich data which can be mined, which can be used for consumer benefit can be brought up. So my dear friends, on that note, I would like to say, ouch, data is important. We can't stay without data. The entire Medicare industry needs to embrace data, be with data, live with data, and sleep with data. Think, who do we sleep with really? Actually, it's data. Data, data, and data, and we're done for it. Thank you, my dear friends. It's been a pleasure being here. Thank you for your patience, for your time. I've gone quickly for a bit because I thought it's the end of the day, and you people are tired, and half the audience, is not here. So what's the point of going through nitty-gritty? So, but for the rest of you, if I have excited your interest in any of these realms, create a robust future for yourselves and for your Medicare enterprises, and let's take India places, and let's look at the tears market as well, just as we look at the saliva market. Thank you. God bless. I'm leaving an email ID out here, which is harishbijur@hotmail.com. I don't have time for questions, but if you mail me and say if you were at the South First TV9 forum, I promise to reply to you within 24 hours. Thank you. God bless.